Welcome to our first Spark Team video. Our first video was created to touch on some of the basics that will help your trick training go a little smoother. If you already know this stuff, that's fantastic. You're off to a great start. In this video, we'll work on focus, sit, down, and stay. First up is focus. Rewarding your dog for offering the behavior on his own is ideal, but you may also choose to put it on cue. I use both in everyday life. Next, we'll work on sit, and then I will show you 3 ways to teach down. In the last clips, we will learn how to get our dogs to stay. Now, I don't teach a formal command for stay. When I ask a dog to hold a position like sit or down, the stay is just implied with that command. In other words, when I say sit, it means sit until I ask for something else or until I use a release word to communicate it's all right to break position. All right, enough talk, let's get to the videos. Show your dog you have a treat. Without saying anything, suddenly bring the food to your face so your dog is looking at you. Mark the behavior, I say yes, and then reward your dog with the food.
Good girl. Yes, good girl.
Show your dog you have a treat, but this time, hold it out to one side. You might have to wait a minute, but eventually your dog will look at you. The instant you make eye contact, mark the behavior and give your dog the reward.
Yes, good girl. Yes, good girl. Yes, good girl. Yes, good girl. Very good girl. Yes, good girl. Yes, good girl.
Next, with a treat in each hand, hold your hands out to both sides.
Good girl.
Wait for your dog to look at you and mark the reward.
Yes, good girl. Yes, good girl. Yes, good girl.
Finally, we're going to add a cue.
Yes, good
When you
girl.
give your dog a cue, mark a reward the moment he looks at you.
Yeah.
Once he
Yes,
understands
good
that that's what your cue means,
girl.
you can begin to hold their gaze for a short time before you mark a
Yes,
reward.
good girl.
Gradually increase the length of time.
Magic. Yes. Magic. Yeah. Magic. Yes, good girl.
I use the dog's name as a verbal cue in this video so they look at me when I call them. This is very useful when I need to get and keep their attention while training. Other words you might want to use are look, watch, or even just focus. Now we'll learn sit. Show your dog you have a treat. Then
Yes,
lift the
good
treat over their head
girl.
and back a little bit so they have to look up at it.
Yes.
This motion usually results in the dog sitting to get a better look at the
Yes.
tasty treat you're holding. Mark a reward.
Yes, good girl. Yes. Yes, good girl.
Once your dog will reliably
Yes.
sit with the hand overhead
Sit.
lure, say the word
Yes,
sit
good girl.
before you perform
Sit.
your action. Mark a reward.
Yes, good girl. Sit. Yes, good girl. Sit. Yes, good girl. Sit. Yes.
Next, we begin to
Sit.
phase out the lure.
Yes,
When you
good
ask for your
girl.
sit, wait.
Sit.
With enough repetitions on the previous step, your dog will likely
Sit.
remember that sitting
Yes,
comes
good
after and
girl.
offer it on its own. If
Sit.
your dog doesn't
Yes.
offer the behavior right away,
Sit.
don't worry,
Yes.
it takes time.
Good girl.
Just go back to luring and keep practicing.
Yes.
To teach down from a sit position,
Yes.
show your dog the treat and move it straight down from their nose and pull it out slightly.
Yes,
They should
good
crawl
girl.
down into
Very
position.
nice.
Mark a reward as their elbows touch the ground.
Yes, good girl.
From a stand position, show your dog the treat and move it straight down from their nose. But this time,
Yes.
push the treat in towards them and they should roll back into the correct position. Mark a reward as their rear hits the ground. Now add your cue.
Down. Yeah, down. Yes, good girl. Down.
Teach downs from both a
Yes,
standing
good
and sitting
girl.
position if your
Down.
dog will do both.
Yes, good girl. Down. Good girl. Down.
And now you can begin to phase out
Yes.
your lure.
Down. Good
Once again,
girl.
go back a step if you find they aren't
Down.
responding to the verbal cue
Yes,
and use your
good
lure again.
girl. Down. Yes, good girl.
If you're having a hard time getting your dog to respond
Yes,
to the lure, you
girl.
can also try this under the leg technique. Just lure the dog forward under your leg and keep it low enough that they have to lay
Yes,
down
good
to reach it.
girl. Sit.
To get the dog
Yes.
to stay in these positions, first we add
Good
duration.
girl.
Staying close,
Yes.
Ask for a sit or
Okay.
down and mark the behavior as usual.
Sit.
But this time, don't reward.
Okay.
Pause for a moment,
Girl.
say your release word,
Sit.
and use the treat to lure them forward
Okay,
to break the
good
position.
girl. Sit.
Gradually increase the length of time between
Okay.
the mark and release.
Sit. Yes. Okay.
If your dog is breaking position early,
Down.
ask them for the sit or down again
Yes.
and reduce the duration.
Good girl. Okay. Good puppy.
Down. Yes.
Okay. Sit.
Once your dog is capable of holding sits or downs for a longer period of time, start adding distractions.
Good girl. Sit. Yes.
Keep them short and simple at first, gradually increasing the level of difficulty and adding duration back in. Even moving your feet around will be distracting at first.
Okay. Good girl.
Down. If your dog breaks position, practice performing a less exciting distraction.
Okay. Good girl.
Down.
Okay. Sit. Okay. Good girl.
When your dog has mastered duration and distraction, we can add distance. At first, only work the length of your leash, so that if your dog breaks the stay, you can lead them back to their starting point and try again. Alternate between releasing your dog from your side and at a distance, so that they don't anticipate when you'll release them.
Okay. Good girl.
All of these skills count towards your Novice Trick Dog title. All you have to do is take a video of your dog showing off what it's learned, and either upload it to the group or send it to me privately. You may use a lure for half of the tricks at Novice level. Thanks for watching! The next Spark Team video will be coming soon. See you next time.